from the littoral to the far north to the southwest region of Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We are live from our central news desk in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. Tonight, we take you across Cameroon, where roads are falling and failing the Cameroonian people, from Balwe in the Indian of the southwest region, where a chief's body cannot be taken home because of the deplorable state of the road network that has collapsed, to Bonaberi, that's in the Douala 4 municipality, where students will have to go through enormous difficulties walking through the mud to be able to go back to school as the next academic year prepares to start across Cameroon, right up to the far north region, where the Maga dyke, which used to be a major point for over 10,000 people, is now at the verge of collapsing, leaving the people in disarray. This all in this edition of the news, A Nation on the Move. That's the major newscast for the night, as we take you across Cameroon on very deplorable states of the road network. Good evening. Welcome to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We're live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city, Equinoxe Center News Desk. Yes, this is the major newscast across the country, but also across the Central African sub-region. Now, we're starting on human interest story. As we told you, 3 different regions, the reality is the same. The road network is bad and, of course, failing the local people. First, the deplorable state of the road linking Balwe, that's in the Indian division of the southwest region, is not only making movement a veritable nightmare, but also holding back development in the area. Deep potholes and muddy stretches, impassable stretches, are also hampering the transportation of people and goods, limiting economic activities and making access to basic services increasingly difficult for the local population. The condition of the road is now being highlighted as mourners struggle to transport the remains of a traditional chief, Prince John, to his village in that part of the Indian division. Immaculate Fogwe paints the picture of the road network in the Indian.
The journey to Betatako Balwe, found in the Kondo Titi subdivision, the southwest region, begins with a traditional send-off. At the departure point, the traditional ruler of Betatako Balwe pours libation on the vehicle, conveying the remains of traditional chief prince John Nanjembe, also known as Salingo, who died in Kumba. He calls on ancestors and the gods of the land to watch over the mourners and protect them as they accompany Solingo for his final resting place. The procession makes a stop at Lipenja Barumbi, where another traditional authority performs similar rites, pouring libations on the vehicle before the journey continues. But beyond Lipenja Barumbi, the vehicle can go no further. There is no motorable road linking the communities. The youths must now take over. They lift the coffin onto their heads and walk for several kilometers along a narrow footpath, carrying the remains through difficult terrain. Then comes perhaps the most challenging part of the journey, the crossing of the Ma River, which separates Lipenja Barumbi from Betatako Balwe. The difficult crossing does not dampen the spirits of the youths. They sing and dance around the coffin as they prepare to take on the waters. Their only option is this makeshift bamboo raft. 4 to 5 people can sit on the raft at a time. A rope stretched across the river is used to pull the craft from one side to the other, while the man in the water helps push and guide it across. The remains are also placed on the same fragile raft and carefully transported to the opposite bank. For residents, getting farm produce out of the village is a daily struggle. The absence of a motorable road and the difficult river crossing continue to hinder movement, trade, and development. The ongoing crisis in the southwest region has made the situation even more difficult, with access and movement remaining a major concern for communities such as Betatako Balwe.
Several regions of Cameroon, 3 or 4, common problems, that of a crumbling road infrastructure. And weeks before the official start of the new academic year across the Republic of Cameroon, pupils and students in Sodiko village and Bonamitombe, all in Bonaberi in the Douala 4 municipality, risks facing the prospect of trekking through the muddy stretches to be able to get to their school establishment. The battered road network is also turning life into a veritable nightmare, and traveling across the stretch is extremely difficult for the local people, even away from students. They say that economic and social activities have been badly hit by the deplorable road network. The people are crying for whoever can help. We have Innocent Aze with the report.
You know, if you dress fine, safe. Even pass for corner road.
The degraded Sodiko village Bonatombe road stretch in Bonaberi Douala 4 subdivision is raising concerns just weeks before the start of the 2026-2027 academic year. Pupils and students may have to wade through mud to reach school with no visible rehabilitation efforts.
Right for front, lycée Bilengie for Sodiko here. In short, I don't know how we motor them or even school picking, they can't jump past the kind of big hole.
For motorists, circulation along the road is a nightmare. Frequent mechanical faults, accidents and traffic delays are adding to the hardship, with some commuters arriving late at work.
For us using cars, we don't know whether we are using cars or canoes, because you get to a point, today is deep, tomorrow is deeper, you don't know how to pass. It makes it so much impossible for us to pass and even meet our appointments in town. There are times that we even have to take our cars weekly to the mechanic to be able to cope with the roads. Economically, the road does not work, it's not beneficial to us, it's draining us. But even physically too, there are times you leave town and before you get to your house, your back is aching. All you want to do is to lie down and rest.
Business persons are also adversely impacted as poor road conditions disrupt the movements of goods and customers.
It's really disturbing us because our suppliers cannot really come here with wood easily, and then we too cannot easily supply our products out. The rain too is falling too much, and it's really making transportation of products and raw material very difficult for us. Due to the bad road, the cost of transportation is actually very high, and we are now facing very big problems with our customers.
The government should see what they can do to remedy the situation, because it has become like an epidemic, as they call it, a widespread disease that is incurable. But this one, I believe that it is curable because we have everything in our place to come and fill all these potholes so that the children can go back to school in neatness. Let them not go back to school, as they call it in French, sale.
The population is calling on municipal authorities to ease this long-standing burden by providing an accessible road even through the use of pavement blocks as seen in nearby quarters.
And the collapsing road infrastructure is not limited to the littoral or the southwest region. It is a reality too in Cameroon's far north region. And the governor of that region, Mejiawo Bakari, has prohibited circulation on the Maga dyke, which is at the verge of collapsing. The area, which used to protect more than 100 people from seasonal flooding, now risks their very own lives. As Innocent as a rather Immaculate Fogwe, our lady tells us in the following report.
The Maga Dam and adjacent Logon dikes in Cameroon's far north region have historically faced severe structural weakening from heavy seasonal rains and floods. The dike recently showed signs of collapse, with 21 critical points identified and requiring urgent action, putting tens of thousands of local residents at risk.
En saison de pluie, mi-septembre, ce qui est sûr, l'eau sera au-dessus des habitations. Et avec ces points critiques, si rien n'est fait, nous sommes sûrs et certains que ça sera plus pire que les années 2012.
In response to this threat, the governor of the far north region, Mejiawo Bakari, conducted an official visit to Maga. He was accompanied by officials from the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, officials of the Viva Logon project, and representatives from various organizations involved in rehabilitating the irrigated lands. Speaking in a firm statement, the governor of the far north region immediately prohibited all access to the dike, which is currently under pressure from human activities and heavy vehicle traffic.
Prendre des dispositions pour interdire tout passage aux engins et à toute autre charges pouvant endommager cet ouvrage.
Following this inspection, the governor reviewed the rehabilitation progress in the irrigated zones, where collaborative work with local landowners has yielded progress.
Donc, un petit mot pour les périmètres de Yagua, qui couvre une superficie de 5650 hectares. Donc, également, à ce niveau, on a réhabilité le projet Arrière Viva Logon Arrière.
As of July 31st, 2026, the Viva Logon project achieved a 60.6% physical completion rate alongside a 53.2% financial execution rate. Protecting these dikes remains essential to preserving the structural investment and maintaining vital agricultural production across the Logon Valley. The technical team on site evaluated the precise engineering challenges that lies ahead.
Pour nous permettre de nous concentrer sur la réalisation des restes de travaux entre décembre 2026 et juin 2028.
During a steering committee meeting held in Marwa, the Secretary General of Minipat, representing the Minister of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, reiterated the critical importance of the dike structures, which are now drawing high-level national attention. To prevent a major humanitarian disaster, regional authorities intend to collaborate closely with local authorities.
And in sports, a few hours to the official kickoff of the much-awaited match opposing the ladies of Cameroon and those of Morocco, the head coach of the indomitable Lionesses, Valentin Ngele, says the team is in good shape and their WAFCON semi-final against host country Morocco is clearly being prepared, and that there is no pressure so far on the squad. Captain Gabriel Abudi-Ongene says that she is proud of the team's so far performance right up to this stage of the competition. All that with Simat Jikan Gabriel in the following sport news.
Cameroon takes on host nation Morocco in the second semi-final of the African Women's Nations Cup, and the Lionesses say they are feeling no pressure. We are not under pressure, but the pressure is on the opponent, since they are in front of the supporters and the nation awaits a win from them. We just have to impose our style. The girls just have to follow the game plan and impose it on their opponent. After knocking out 10-time champions Nigeria in the quarterfinals, the focus has shifted quickly. There has been no time to rest. Work continued because it is a bonus for us playing the semi-finals, since we didn't see ourselves here. It is just one match before the final game, so we have no right to make errors. But while the pressure is off, the respect is still there. The players know the challenge that comes with facing the Atlas Lionesses in front of a home crowd in Rabat. We respect our opponents. I just want to recall that we are playing against the host nation. They didn't host the tournament 3 consecutive times just to play, but they also want to win the cup. So we shall play against the favorites of the tournament. Respecting an opponent doesn't mean we are afraid of them, but we respect them in the line of sports. If we simply respect the tactics given by the coach ahead of the game, the mood in camp is good. The squad is fully fit and ready to give their best on the pitch. My soldiers are set for everything, and I want to thank them for this honor as they made me dream. I'm here at my 8th WAFCON to share my experience, and I'm glad the message is going through. The clash between Morocco and Cameroon will be played at the Moulay El Hassan Stadium in Rabat, and it will be officiated by Togolese referee Vincentia Eyunang Amedome.
And that's all for the first part of the news. Coming up is Talking Points. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on Talking Points. Tonight, we are receiving a well-known legal mind in Cameroon we are receiving Barrister Fu Joseph, who is joining us live from Northwest Regional Chieftown from the city of Bamenda. Good evening, Barrister. Thanks for accepting to be guest on Talking Points tonight on Equinoxe Television. With you, we're going to be discussing the deportation of some 36 nationals of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Morocco, Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Angola, Kenya, and many other African countries. 36 in number who've been deported from the United States of America to Cameroon, and of course they landed in Cameroon. Now, the curiosity and the question many Cameroonians have been asking is why different nationals are being brought to Cameroon. Some are quick to ask the question if this falls in line with a particular agreement that the government of Cameroon has with the United States of America. It's being said in the neighborhoods and also on social media in Cameroon. I pose this question to you, Barrister, as I welcome you on Talking Point.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Babila, for giving me the opportunity to be able to elucidate your audience and your viewers on this issue. First, let me say that these 36 petitioners got to Cameroon on chartered flights. They were some of them were shackled. They were brought to Cameroon. Most of them have indicated that they were brought in as hardened criminals. That said, they were brought in on 4 different flights that came in January, February, April, and May of 2026. And in all, they 36 of them. 36 non-Cameroonians from 7 African countries who suddenly consent and without their volition find themselves in Cameroon. Yes, our understanding is that there is an accord between the United States and Cameroon, an échange de notes that was purportedly signed on the 8th of December 2025. And we have found a record of this and a copy of this on the U.S. State Department website. And that's what we are going on. So, but we cannot confirm to you one way or the other whether this is an authentic document or not. But because it's on the website of the State Department, we are going on the firm assumption that this was that there is an accord between the United States and Cameroon, and in fact was fulfilled for these accords to be rightfully entered into. And then secondly, whether the substance of these accords are in tandem with international law and national law. By this specifically, we are asking whether the transfer of these nationals from the United States to Cameroon was followed the norms of international law or jus cogens. And we are saying that courts in the United States had adjudicated these people as qualified for protections that shielded them, adjudicated that had the high probability of persecuting and torturing them. And so, if the United States could not send these people to those same countries that had a high probability of persecuting or torturing them, why did they choose Cameroon specifically to send these people to?
Thanks, Barrister Fu Joseph. Now, it is scary for every Cameroonian, of course, to learn that some 36 hardened criminals, as you qualify some of them there, have been deported to their country. Now, but Barrister, on the humanitarian part, let me say on the human rights aspect of it, how does their deportation violate the refugee laws? And secondly, are there any risk of refoulement in this case, Barrister?
By violation of refugee law, we are specifically saying that the core principle that guides refugee law is the principle of non-refoulement or non-refoulement, which basically means that a country that is providing protection to a refugee cannot send that same refugee back to that country from which they are fleeing from persecution or torture, all right? Which means that the United States, having through their courts, that they were more likely than not to be persecuted from by the countries from which they came from. It was unthinkable for them to return these people to those countries from which they came from, or to a third country that had a probability or a high likelihood of persecuting them as well. And which that means if Cameroon was going to accept these people, it was going to be very clear that these people were not going to be persecuted or to be tortured. Whereas there were groups among, or there is a specific group among these people who, under Cameroonian law, clearly were going to be criminalized. And we are talking about which criminalizes same-sex relationships. And these people clearly or knew that these people who had these kind of idiosyncrasies and propensities would be criminalized under Cameroonian law.
Thanks, Barrister. We're sorry we're having issues with you there. That's the network. And, of course, we remind our viewers that you're connected live from Bamenda in the northwest region of Cameroon. That's from the city of Bamenda. Now, Barrister, let's look at this. What of the legality of the applicant's confinement in this particular case?
By violation of refugee law, we are specifically saying that the core principle that guides refugee law is the principle of non-refoulement or non-refoulement, which basically means that a country that is providing protection to a refugee cannot send that same refugee back to that country from which they are fleeing from persecution or torture, all right? Which means that the United States them as well. And which that means if Cameroon was going to accept these people, it was going to be very clear that these people were not going to be persecuted or to be tortured. Whereas there were groups among, or there is a specific group among these people who, under Cameroonian law, clearly were or knew that these people who had these kind of idiosyncrasies and propensities would be criminalized under Cameroonian law.
Yes, Barrister, I asked this. I wanted to know about the applicant's confinement. I wanted to get to know about the legality of the applicant's confinement. I understood the dangers, the risks of refoulement or refoulement. As you indicated there, some of them who are actually uncertain on what becomes of them while in Cameroon vis-a-vis their ideologies, practices, and of course the reason that took them from their different countries, but specifically the legality of the applicant's confinement.
Cameroon has a sovereign right to enter into any accord that it wants to with the United States. But we are asking, number one, was the process of entering into that accord, was it the proper procedure? Was it legal? And then the substance of the accord. Did Cameroon do its due diligence to understand that these people that they were accepting were not going to be criminalized by Cameroon national laws, especially Penal Code Section 2, or had reason to know that these people with these idiosyncrasies could not and should not have been in Cameroon. And by bringing them to Cameroon, they were directly, which is directly a form of persecution.
Thanks, Barrister Fu Joseph, for your time and effort there. And Cameroon has not officially, Barrister, in this particular case, published, ratified, or otherwise disclosed the agreement with the United States of America, or explained to the Cameroonian people its domestic legal basis on this particular case. But now, there are also worries of transparency and sovereignty in this case, Barrister.
The presence of these people to us is illegal. We are asking, and because it has the propensity to cause irreparable harm, and that the court needs to move with urgency, we are asking that the court be suspended until such a time when the court rules on the merits of our petition. Secondly, we are asking that the court should require Cameroon to clarify the status of these people, because where they are, they do not know whether they are refugees under Cameroonian law or whether they are just free. In fact, they don't have identity cards. They cannot move around. They are still at the holding center, and they want to be free. They want to enjoy their fundamental human rights. And so we are asking the court to be able to clarify the juridical status of these people in Cameroon. And thirdly, we are asking the court to prevent or to stop Cameroon from ordering these people to be transferred to another third country where they could be persecuted, or to the countries where they come from, where they have already been adjudicated as having a well-founded fear of persecution under one of the 5 conventional groups, which is race, religion, nationality, political opinion, and membership in a particular social group. So therefore, to push Cameroon to publish the contents of this.
That's why you're asking the court to do. Thanks very much, Barrister Fu Joseph, who joined us from Bamenda in the northwest region of Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we put an end to today's edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. We thank you for your keen attention, urging you to continue to stay in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe. Our next edition of news will be in the French language. That will be at 8 p.m. As for me, rendezvous is taken for tomorrow, same time, on the same platform. Have a nice evening.